gonna go finish yesterday's. I'll be listening and I'll jump up here. Is that okay?
That's fine. Good morning. How are you? Good. Who are you here for?
50778 Michigan Avenue. Civil fraction blood.
Did Ms. Manarino send you in with something? Thank you. This is 24VB012160N Van Buren Township versus 50778 Michigan. Your appearance.
Good morning, Your Honor. Douglas Swadesh, appearing on behalf of the defendant.
Mr. Swadesh, you've just handed the court the agreement from the prosecutor, Ms. Manarino, that this matter was being dismissed. Was that your understanding?
It is, Your Honor.
It's hereby dismissed. Anything else this morning?
That's it. Thank you very much, Your
Have
Honor.
a good day.
Thank you.
What do you do when you come out here? You. This is, I had to look this up. It's a strip club that's been closed for, yeah, it's on Michigan Avenue when you're headed towards Ipsy. Hot spot.
Oh, it's still in here.
Yep. When I see these addresses, I try to figure out where they are. And we've driven by there, and I remember when it was open. And now first it was Big Rigs, the front part, the engine part were being stored there. And then it just started looking worse and worse. Because when he walked in, I looked at him and said, what do you? SWATOSH. Because I drive by his office all the time.
Very delicate coming in a second for the American visa one to resolve. It's the cases. And I'd like a copy.
He's coming in a minute, like.
Yeah, he's
on his
coming in.
way.
Yeah, it's working out.
So here's the question. If I write it in one,
Oh, yeah. Yes, go ahead.
thank you.
And I'll make a copy of it and put it in.
Because.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's happening? All different.
No, all the same.
Oh, okay, good. I'll just look at that.
Thank you. So dismissal of 73 in the 1980s. And the,
1980s.
yep, yes, sorry. And the 784U. The rest of them will plead to a civil infraction of, thank you, a civil infraction of the technical violation with a fine of 180 for 18 files, $3,240.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Kroger, please step up to this middle podium for me, please. These are 24VB00985 A, B, and C. These are Van Buren Township versus Kroger. State your name for me.
Jennifer Kroger.
Ms. Kroger, one of these cases is a misdemeanor. Have you waived your right to have the assistance of a court-appointed attorney with that matter?
Which, I don't know which one
IT
is
call
what.
215, please. IT call 215.
My apologies. I'm sorry. Ma'am,
But I'm sorry.
I couldn't hear you because of the intercom. You were saying?
The misdemeanor with the dangerous dog. I
Yes.
would like somebody to be able to help me, because I don't know. I don't honestly believe that my dog bit anybody.
We're not quite at that stage yet. The agreement that you signed with Ms. Manarino indicates that this case is being adjourned to June the 27th. Was that your understanding?
Yes.
We'll get a time for you in just one moment.
Great, thank you.
9 a.m. on June the 27th. And Ms. Kroger, what I'm indicating to you is that the C file, the dangerous dog, is a misdemeanor. There is court-appointed attorneys who will be available to you. There's one here today, and there'll be one here on the 27th at 9 a.m. should you wish to speak to them about this case, okay? Anything else this morning?
No, I just want to see about these tickets. I don't know if I'm supposed to wait till the next court date to see what's going on, if I'm supposed to pay or not pay. I have a ticket for animal at large, and I have a ticket for the animal license, of which I never even knew of such a thing.
There are three. There's the animal at large, which is a civil infraction.
Right.
The second one is the unlicensed domestic animal, a civil infraction. And then the dangerous dog is the misdemeanor matter, but all three of the cases will travel along unless you want to pay them. They'll travel together.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Okay.
until the 27th.
So you come back on June the 27th. If you meet with the prosecutor, you can talk to her again about resolving the case. If you wish to speak to the court-appointed attorney, there will be someone here on that day.
Wonderful.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome, sir. So we need to get Ms. Manarino to figure out where we're going for this cookout on Monday. Good morning, sir. We have 24RP 01973OM, 24RP 01980A, B, C, D, E, F. And then there is 24RP 00784, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U. These are all City of Romulus versus Amir Kuza. Your appearances, please.
Yes, Your Honor, Murray Duncan, attorney on behalf of the defendant, I'm Eric Kuza, who's to my right.
State your name for me, please, sir.
Amir Kuza.
Thank you, Amir Kuza. Thank you. Today was the day and time scheduled for an adjourned hearing in this matter. Mr. Duncan, Mr. Greco came into the courtroom and left a signed plea agreement which indicates that your client will plead responsible to 18 counts of the amended charges of violation of technical requirements, civil infractions, changing these files from misdemeanors to civil infractions, and paying fines of $180 for each of those 18 files. That the files that end in 784U and 1980A through F and 1973 would be dismissed. Was that your understanding?
Yes, my client is prepared to plead responsible.
And additionally, that he would remove the overstays within 30 days of today's date.
Yes.
The court having received the signed agreement from the parties, Mr. Kuza, you've had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Duncan regarding these matters. You have to say it. Thank you. And you wish to accept the agreement reached by the attorneys to plead responsible to 18 counts of technical violations?
Yes.
Understanding that each case will be assessed a fine of $180 for a total of $3,240.
Yes.
Additionally, that you will remove all overstays within 30 days of today's date.
Yes.
The court accepts your pleas of responsible in the 784 A through T files, will dismiss all remaining files. Anything else, Mr. Duncan?
No, Judge, he can pay it now, so I told him just go down, and wait for the file. Is that okay? Or-
It's going to take a while because of the number of cases. If you have time,
It's gonna take a while.
Okay, then I'll just have to pay later.
thank you. One apiece. I made a copy of the agreement with the files listed for Mr. Duncan and one for Mr. Greco. Thank you.
Judge.
Have a good day. Good to see you. I saw the look of sheer panic on your face, so never mind. You say that and then somebody says, hold my beer, so. I thank them for being concise in the plea form. Motel. They're all overstays. This is 24RP 01397A, City of Romulus versus Crystal Maddox. She state your name for me.
Crystal Maddox?
Ms. Maddox, today was the day and time scheduled for your show cause. This is a misdemeanor matter where you had the right to be represented by an attorney. You've waived your right to have the assistance of the court-appointed attorney this morning.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've met with the prosecutor, and there's a signed agreement indicating that this A file would be dismissed. Was that your understanding and agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
This case is hereby dismissed. There's a notation on this form that you are aware that there are 2 other citations in default.
Yes, Your Honor.
There's $560 doing owing in those matters. If you want to stop downstairs at the court's cashier station, they can set payment plans in those matters, or have you already been down there?
Last week.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Too.
Yes, ma'am. $9.50. If you don't mind waiting to 10:05, I'll call that case and get you on with your day.
But I didn't realize it was like back it runs a little later, but those are all. So yeah, happy to meet you.
Well, it's almost like you've got, take the breakdown.
Well, yes, but this is the kind of.
Oh. You don't like tromping around, oh. Let's say you don't like tromping around in the snow, but that's not really on you.
Well, no, because I'm like, oh, this is under snow, so I can't clean it up. You know, with a limited window. So. The new, I guess it's not really new, but the new, not new lieutenant is supposed to be getting everything.
Why do I find that hard to believe?
It's supposed to be getting the ordinance officers under.
I'm
I'm
supposed to be 5'6", so yeah.
How optimistic.
I think my growing days are over, so.
Yeah. I know, I had a realization like the other day. I don't know why it was like popping in my head. But I was thinking, oh, because I was thinking about something and I was like, I finally reached that point where like I can know more of my life than like a kid. And like, so thinking about like thinking about like when I was with my parents, I was like, I've definitely lived on my own more than I like, you know, the time I spent living with them when I was like growing up and stuff. I was like, that's kind of weird.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I had that realization. So now I'm like, it's like, am I officially old now? Is that what happened?
Don't say that. It's not official. I think you're only as old as you feel.
That's what my mom says. But I tell her that's because she's older. She says that.
I was with an older guy, 80, I think he said he is, a couple of nights ago. And I asked him how he was, just because I always ask.
Right.
He says, I'm a C+. I said, I don't know what that means. Well, at this age, that's as good as you can get. And I said, I refuse to believe that.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I have two great aunts in their mid-90s, and they're still chugging along. So.
I know a couple of 90-plus-year-olds, and they are feisty, and they are what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah, that's how my older great aunt is. She still cuts the grass. They had to stop her from cutting down a tree in her yard a couple years ago. One of her grandkids or great grandkids was like, no. And she's like, well, I want to get rid of this tree. Like, you have 100 grandkids and great grandkids, maybe one of them. She was like, I can just do it myself.
I want it done right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's out there with her lawnmower in the summer, 94 years old. I was like, you know, I think that's, you know, I mean, to be able to do all that at her age.
I want to be that aunt and great aunt that my nieces and nephews have to send people to get me because we're misbehaving somewhere out in public. We're dancing on counters or something. I want to be that 90-year-old. I'm doing everything I can to be that person.
Yeah. I know one of my best friends is pregnant with her first, and like we were joking the other. I went to her husband couldn't go to the ultrasound appointment last week, so I went with her, and I was joking with her. I was like, "Here's the problem: so who is teaching this child to drive when it gets to that point?" And I was like, "Because you're an aggressive driver. Your husband's worse. Your parents are out. Your brother and his wife are." I was like, "You have to make a friend with somebody who's like a chill person." Like a chill older person. Otherwise, she's not going to be able to drive because none of us are going to be able to teach her. I was like, so you have 15 years. Go make a friend that can teach her how to drive.
Are you serious?
And she was like, oh crap. Like she hadn't thought about it until we were like joking around. I was like, no, but seriously, there's no one in your life qualified to do this.
How are all of you useless?
I was like, I will help with plenty of other things.
Just not that.
But non-aggressive driving is not one that I can teach.
I'm shocked. What is your issue?
And I will subtly hint that.
I'm on the phone with my girlfriend who clearly is driving. And every now and again, she'll scream some obscenity and honk her horn while we're having this regular chill conversation about whatever. I'm like, sweetie, you can just call me back. No, if these people would just.
And then back to like normal conversation.
Exactly.
Like a year ago, one of my friends called me. She was driving somewhere and I didn't answer. And she like texted me and told me just to delete the voicemail and not listen to it. Because as she couldn't hang up, because as she was about to hang up, somebody cut her off. So the voicemail on my phone is her screaming every name in the book at this like random other car on the road. Because I didn't delete it without listening what she went through. I listened to it and had a good laugh. I was like, you've lost your mind on that person.
Well,
But she didn't have her kids in the car, so she could scream at them.
this is somebody who I've known for a long time. And we were in court. We wind up being on the same docket so we could sit and talk to each other. And if we were in the same courts and we were done at the same time, we could grab lunch and stuff like that. But because our lives have changed so drastically, we can't do that. But we have figured out there's one day a week that we're usually both available. And so she'll call between her office and home.
That's nice.
And so I get the treat of
Listening to her
do
road rage.
her road rage or stop and order food and me chastise her for what she's eating.
I told Leanna the other day that I've never personally been to Chick-fil-A, but I have been to Chick-fil-A several times on the phone with her.
She's a Chick-fil-A girl.
She is. And I told her, I was like, I can't do Chick-fil-A for certain reasons.
Understood.
And I was like, she's like, I know. She's like, so I do other things to compensate for that. I was like, I don't know if that helps, but okay.
And I see her as a road rage driver with the sunglasses and the scarf and the big old.
600 times her size.
I know, with the trap music blaring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was, and I was like, I've never been to Chick-fil-A on my own, but here we are again at the Chick-fil-A. I was like, do you just call me when you come here, or how does this work?
Well, when my friend orders food, I know she's almost home because she'll only eat at 2 or 3 different places. I'm like, okay, so I have like 15 more minutes.
Right.
And then when she gets where she lives, there's bad reception. And so I'm like, oh, you turned down your street. It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, that's so funny though.
Yeah, my whole Leanna picture is because she and I've had the conversation about with the music. Music blaring, sunglasses on, right on somebody's tail, screaming and cursing. I can see it. It's
yeah. You know, I mean, she's more well behaved when she has the boys in the car, but you know, on her own, that is, I feel pretty accurate.
Well, that's me in the minivan with the most obscene stuff blaring with the windows up though. I don't impose that on anyone else. Just putting along, car full of crumbs.
I feel like, I always have, because like in the summer when I'm out back working, I always have, you know, the speaker on in music, and I was like, I wonder what my neighbors think, because like a lot of the time, like most of the time if I'm like outside in summer, I'm like, I need like something to keep me like awake and entertained. So there's this like early 2000s Spotify playlist that I listen to a lot. And then, but what I end up doing is I get distracted because like some song will come on, and then I have to like text my friends and be like, oh my God, I listened to this like hilarious playlist and this just came on, and then, you know, 20 minutes of laughing at ourselves ensues. But my neighbors are all, you know, of a generation where they have no idea why I'm listening to these things or what these things that I listen to are. I just wonder what they think of it, because I'm sure they are not as entertained as I am.
Hence earbuds or headphones, wireless headphones.
You know, but I'm in my backyard.
No.
I'm entertaining myself.
I don't subject anyone else to my choice in music or listening to the news.
We should be neighbors.
If that's your story.
That's my line. Like, if you find
the Lil Wayne DMX mix to be offensive, we can't be friends, because that's.
Oh, you're
what I
that
wanna listen to
person.
At my house.
No,
But not, it's not super loud. It's like loud enough that I can hear it, but not so the whole block can hear it.
if I'm outside with the speaker, it's more likely to be an audio book because I will not subject, or news. I'm listening to the news a lot, so I don't want to subject anybody to that. If you don't want to listen to it, I'm not
Yeah.
going to broadcast it to you. Ignore the fact that you can't see that I have things in my ear, but I'm dancing in the backyard. No, I don't look insane at all.
Well, as long as you're having fun, that's all that matters.
I do wonder that sometimes, like if you drive by and you see, you're like, what is she doing?
See, at least my neighbors know what I'm listening to and why.
Mm-mm.
See, so it's a fuller picture for them.
I've reached that point
I
where,
also don't know how many-
oh, that's a wonderful problem to have. That means people are home watching all day, right?
Well, they probably haven't worked in 30 years, so I assume. they're
Those are the
home.
best kind of neighbors.
They're a little nosy for my taste. A lot of blind peeking.
I'll give you something,
Well, and
give you something to see.
one of the neighbors who lives 2 doors down, I don't know that he's, works the way that it should anymore. And he told the lady who was next door to me, he's like, oh yeah, I know, like, because they like to gossip a lot. And so he was like, oh yeah, that girl lives next door to you, blah, 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 blah. Told her all these things. And so she comes over to me and she's like, I was talking to like the guy who was on the other side. He told me blah, 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 blah. I said, not a single thing of that is true. Like, but he has like this whole life. He knows everything about my life, but none of it is accurate.
I would, because you make up your own stories,
I was like, is that the soap opera? Like,
Yep.
just watching me?
making up
Like,
backstories about you.
yes. And I was like, I was like, well, what are you gonna do to keep yourself entertained, I guess?
Somebody moved in and I didn't know their name at first. And so I referred to them by the kind of car they drove because
Yeah.
then he would understand.
Right.
And then when I finally met the person, I go home and tell him their names and he's like, yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that. It's because we have created this whole backstory. And I said, I'm curious what people think our backstory is.
I mean, I guess as long as they're keeping themselves entertained, that's.
Well,
And I feel like the backstories are more, more creative than the real life.
oh, the real story is boring. It is. I water the plants, cut the grass, cars moving in and out of the driveway.
Yeah.
Walk over to the mailbox. Yeah. Rinse and repeat.
I'm
I-
sure they're all happy because I cut the grass on Tuesday.
Why don't you have a service? If you're letting it get scraggly, get a
Because
service.
I have a lawnmower, I have 2 lawnmowers.
Having a lawnmower and wanting to use it and using it enough so that you're not on the neighbor's list are completely different things.
That is true. We have a big yard, it doesn't take long, so it just feels lazy.
No, it's not lazy. It's a better use of your time and resources.
I mean, probably,
Yeah.
but I acquired a second lawnmower last year, so now it feels extra awkward to not do it.
Why? Why did you get a second lawnmower?
You'd have to ask my dad. That was his doing, not mine. So the lawnmower I have is, it works fine. It's just older. So one of their neighbors was moving to a house. He was moving in with his dad, and so he didn't need his lawnmower anymore. So my dad got the lawnmower from him, and then brought it over. He's like, it's much newer, and it's like, that doesn't work as well as my rickety old lawnmower. So now I have 2. I don't know, I don't know how to get rid of a lawnmower.
Put it on
It's
the
like-
curb.
Yeah, that's what I was, but I was like, but then hopefully somebody picks it up and uses it and doesn't go in the garbage. 'Cause I don't
I
want it to go in the garbage.
bought my house in October, and so I
Mhm.
didn't buy a lawnmower right away. I bought
Yeah.
a Toro the following year. I used the thing for 5 years at my house. I get married and move up to this house. The transmission, for lack of better, I don't know what's the right word for it is, went out. So you had to actually push it. It no longer,
Oh, the like auto,
the
yeah.
auto,
So I have that on this lawnmower where this one goes on its own. The other one didn't. I didn't know that was a thing.
well, so we put it on the curb with a sign that said, still works,
You have to push.
but you have to push.
Yeah.
It was gone within the hour. There's a guy that picks them up and he fixes them and he does whatever with
Yeah.
them.
Anything I've ever put out at the not like at the curb and been like free, literally by the time I walk into the house after putting it out there, it's gone.
We
People
pushed out a
love
giant
Free things.
floor model television, like when I mean,
Oh,
like
with
super
the-
tall?
Yeah.
that still had the remote and the manual. We taped the remote and the manual to it. And I watched these guys pull up with this trailer, roll it up the back of the trailer. They looked at it, was like, it still works. It just was too big for our purposes
Mm.
anymore. And I don't know why we still had the manual for a 30-year-old television, but hey.
And I'm sure those guys enjoyed it immensely.
Thank you. I just wanted to finish noting these files. If you, 4 minutes, if you come in with your last file, I'll call it. You're welcome. Two four RP 002910M and 24 RP 004770M. These are both City of Romulus versus Kevin Holanda. Come forward for me, please, sir. All the way up to this podium for me and state your name for the record.
Kevin Holanda.
Mr. Holanda, thank you. Sir, were you offered the opportunity to speak to the court-appointed attorney this morning?
Yes,
And you wish to proceed on your own?
yes,
You've had the opportunity to speak to the prosecutor, Mr. Greco?
that's who I spoke with. I didn't speak with an attorney.
Okay,
That's correct, right? I was in that office. That's him.
that was the prosecutor for the City of Romulus. Sir, these files are in warrant status because you previously failed to appear. The court will recall those bench warrants. There is a signed agreement that indicates that you'll be pleading responsible to the civil infraction of unkempt premises and that the misdemeanor matters would be dismissed. Was that your understanding?
Yes.
And that's how you wish to proceed?
How do I want?
That's what you want to do?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. The court accepts your plea of responsible to the civil infraction of unkempt premises in the file that ends in 477 and will dismiss the other matter, the 291 file. The indications that the fine would be $180. Was that your understanding?
Yes,
Do you need more than 5 days to pay that amount, sir?
no,
5 days to pay $180, and that will resolve both of these matters. Anything else this morning?
should I do that online, here? What's the best way to accomplish that?
You can do it here in about 10, 15 minutes, or if you do it online, it doesn't, whatever's best for you.
Okay,
Anything else?
nope, that'll do it.
Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
You're welcome. Thank you. You don't need to make copies. I took the time to write in all of the files. I did. That's what I was doing. But then we'd have 50 million pieces of paper floating around, and I'd rather not have. These are 24RP 01285, 24RP 01379, 24R 008496, 24R 008495, A, B, C. These are all City of Romulus versus Polo closer. Your appearances, please.
Your Honor, for the record, Jeff Fowler, appearing on behalf of and with Mr. Paula Coulter. In place of his attorney of record, Mr. R. Dan Baton. Dan, would you mind if I sit in for your attorney of record for these proceedings alone? Is it okay that I do that? Thank you, sir. Your Honor, these are all civil infractions. I've met with the prosecution. We do have an executed plea agreement subject to court approval. In this matter, Mr. Paula Koser would be pleading responsible for 2 of the technical violations, which involve removing a vehicle and cleaning up his premises, which he did. With 4 of the technical violations to be dismissed. I'm not sure it's a matter of which ones I think the prosecutor may have indicated. There also is an inspection on the property too on June 20th. That the prosecutor wishes that actually Mr. Polakosa had set up prior to this court.
Thank you. Mr. Polakoser, the court is in receipt of an agreement signed between Mr. Bowditch and the prosecutor, Mr. Greco, that indicates that you'll be pleading responsible to the 2 violations of technical requirements in the cases that end in 495 A and B, with a fine of $180 in both of those files. The remaining cases would be dismissed. That would be 495C, 285, 379, and 496. Was that your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Polakoser, the court will accept the plea of responsible in the A and B files, impose the fines of $180 apiece, dismiss the remaining matters.
Thank you.
Sir, do you need more than 5 days to pay the $360? Then, sir, what I'd ask you to do is stop downstairs and speak to the court's cashiers to set a payment plan. You have some other outstanding matters where you owe the court $1,356. They will be able to put all of these cases into a singular payment plan, okay?
Can I ask what they for? $1,000?
There is. Oh, Mr. Polakoser, my apologies. There's one from 2020 with a balance of $276. There's one of these are dismissed cases from, well, let's fix this. 1, 2. These cases must have gone into default previously, Mr. Polakoser, that they're showing on your history with the court. So it's not the 1,356. It will just be the 2020 case where there's $276 doing owing, and then these 2 cases from today, $360. That's a lot better. Because they were open civil infractions, they're showing as doing owing, and they're not actually. So it's actually $636, if that makes sense. No.
What is it for again? I'm sorry.
The 2020 case where there's $276 is unkempt premises.
I thought I paid that already.
The sheet was attached to the front of the file, so if you paid it after May the 10th,
No, I thought I paid it in 2021. No? I didn't know about that one. I didn't receive anything about that. That's the reason why I'm right about it.
it was a case that went into default. This was from January 2nd, 2020, unkempt premises in the city of Romulus.
I didn't receive anything this week on that, right? But I got the rest of the stuff, so.
They'll be able to, when you stop at the cashiers before you leave the building, they'll be able to pull up any open cases you have in your name. And they can give you more information if you need it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, sir? Have a good day. I look at the summary sheet and I forget that all the civil infractions show as due when they're not yet due. How's the hallway look?
There's like 5 people.
That's not bad.
Slower.
You said what?
Slower.
What are you doing for the rest of the day?
Catching up on some things for Greco. That I told him I was gonna do yesterday, but then I got sidetracked going to township.
What was going on in the township?
Just trying to get stuff for today, and then we have, a new detective, so he's getting acclimated. How we add the fourth detective, so Griggs is back there now.
Really?
It's his second week.
I don't keep track of. I see people, I'm like, oh, where are you from?
Well, the last couple years, it was hard for me to keep track for a while of who was who and who goes where, so.
Well, that's why I laugh when people say you're officers and say, do you understand that I can't pick them out of crowds? They're not my officers.
Right. It's okay.
Bacchus?
Yes, that was the last one. That's a 2021. I gotta talk to Bob and find out what the deal is with that one. 'Cause that's-
Well, it cracks me up because they'll see me out and I can see the look like, I'm not sure where I know her from. I'm okay with that.
You know what? After all this, so like, I didn't want to see you. Can't tell you what. It's like, I recognize you.
I see, I don't.
Because I did that at, it might have been Ken Tony's retirement party. I walked up to Champagne and I said hi. And he looked at me and he was like,
Are
oh
you
my God.
serious?
And he was like, he didn't realize, and I was like, all these years and you didn't, okay.
What's funnier to me is when we're out somewhere, I
Mhm.
see the look.
Yeah, like that lady looks familiar.
2007890 OM, 2007990 OM, and 2007910 OM. These are all Van Buren Township versus John Backus. These cases were scheduled at 9:50 a.m. It's now 10:14 by this court's clock. Ms. Manorino.
Good morning, Your Honor. Angela Maynard on behalf of the people. Your Honor, I've checked in the hallway and Mr. Backus has not appeared or checked in this morning.
Thank you. These cases are all in bench warrant status and have been since September of 2021. Defendant having failed to appear, the court will leave the cases as they are. Anything else this morning?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Thank you.
See you, Judge.
Take care.
You too. Have a good weekend.
You too. Ms. Hernandez? These are 24RP01399 A and B. you say your name for me, please?
Angela Hernandez.
You are?
She's no way.
Do you not speak English or do you not speak it well?
A little bit.
Little bit, okay. I need the prosecutor. Ken. There's only one file. There's only one file and it's already in the. I'm trying to think how to say this. Could you have a seat at that table for me, please? Thanks. I was talking to Miss Manarino and the whole time I was writing in the CUSA files so I could get them. I just couldn't imagine copying those sheets 18 times. Not that I couldn't imagine, I just wouldn't do it. It's a difference. Mr. Greco, I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if that note would make sense to you.
No, I was starting to write on it, and then but she was in Mexico.
Mhm.
So I don't know why I wanted to. You know, so, and they took care of the enough vehicles, which is the 8 tickets. I want to dismiss that. The B premises, which I want on record. because
Okay.
there's Tenants in there, and that's why I specifically didn't just do whatever, but I like it set aside.
Okay.
Because she was here. I know for a fact, I remember they were here.
Okay. Ms. Hernandez, would you come back to the podium? We'll try this again. Ma'am, is it your understanding that you'll plead responsible to the unkempt premises?
Yes.
The court will accept the plea of responsible to unkempt premises and sets a fine of $180. Do you need more than 5 days to pay that? Okay. There was a file that went into default. The court will set aside the default and dismiss that case. There was a case that had gone into default previously. That's why I asked Mr. Greco about dismissing a file that was in default. It's more of a procedural matter than anything. It won't change today's outcome, okay? Anything else? Have a good day. Thank you. It's a civil infraction. The B file is being amended to a civil infraction on premises 180, but there's a companion A file that had gone into default. We need that file to set aside the default and dismiss the case. That case should not have gone into default.
We're not done. You're gonna be getting a much more efficient court office. Tim's gonna be coming. Because I have to get this thing on the back of my head checked.
I keep offering to look at it for you.
3 times now they want to operate again.
Listen, I have scissors and duct tape in my desk. When you're ready, I'm ready. No?
I'm ready to have my daughter do it.
How's Tim feeling today?
He isn't as sore as he thought he.
I'm still shocked.
It's just more aggravation than anything else. Look, you gotta go out and get your own car.
Within 5 days.
You gotta go out and rent a car, $1,300 for 2 weeks. And
The dealership doesn't have cars?
I told them to try there first because when I got in my accident, my dealership gave me a car. But nope, they told them they won't have a car available until June.
Oh.
Yeah. So he had to go out and rent one, and his insurance only pays $25 a day.
I need the A file, not right this second, but if you keep it on the side so we can fix it. That's great. Wait. What's going on? They want to look at it again.
Oh, it won't go away. See it?
I saw it the other day. I didn't want to say anything.
It won't go away.
Just
Now-
grow your hair out and wear a man bun.
Yeah, exactly. I could comb it back, cover it. That might take 20 years to get that long though.
Nice comb over,
Yeah.
comb back.
Okay, so that it's filed and closed, so Greg can find the file. The A file.
Unless you just want to put the note in. I mean,
Whatever
you could just fix it. I mean, I don't, because we need to set aside the default because I'm more curious about why it went into default because this was the one that he waited a long time and she was not
Okay,
here.
okay.
Thanks.
Funny, she came in and paid that,
She paid it already.
the A file. She paid on the 17th.
I can't set it aside.
Yeah, 280 on the 17th.
I can't do anything with it. I can't set aside a paid and closed file. This is the season of golf outings and all these whole sponsorships. Why are there still so many files left? We are not making progress fast enough today. You come sauntering in here. That's all I'm talking about. Is that Good morning. Mr. Davis, who was driving when he called before.
I was right past.
6 and 1, half dozen the other. You got here. That's all that matters. These are 24RP 02457 A, B, C, and D. These are City of Romulus versus Davis. Your appearances, please.
Your Honor, for the record, Jeff Bouch, appearing on behalf of and with Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis, can you tell us the name and record, please?
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Today is the day and time scheduled for the arraignment and pretrial in these matters. The court has received from Mr. Bowditch a signed agreement that indicates that you will be pleading guilty to the A and C files, which are owner care and violation of technical requirements. And the B and D files will be dismissed, B and D being dangerous animal and owner responsibility abandoned animal. Was that your understanding? Would you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. May I put your hand down? Sir, you've had the opportunity to discuss this case with Mr. Bowditch, and you understand the charges you face and the possible penalties. And after having that conversation, sir, it's your understanding and agreement that you'll be pleading guilty to the technical violation and failing to provide adequate care to the animal.
Yes.
And you understand, sir, that if the court accepts your plea this morning, you will not have a trial of any kind.
Yes.
You will not have the opportunity to present witnesses on your own behalf or see and cross-examine witnesses put forth by the prosecutor. And you're entering this plea freely and voluntarily. You haven't been threatened in any way or promised anything to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Are you pleading guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes.
Mr. Davis, is it true that on May the 1st, 2024, in the city of Romulus, you failed to provide adequate care to your animal by having it in filthy conditions, unclean conditions? Okay. Sir, is it also true that on May 1st, 2024, again in the city of Romulus, you had unsanitary kennel or pen for the animal?
Yeah.
Satisfied, Mr. Bowditch?
Satisfied.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, the court accepts your pleas of guilty in the 2 matters cited and will dismiss the other 2 files, the B and D files. Mr. Bowditch, anything before fines and costs are imposed in this matter?
Your Honor, I believe Mr. Davis is no longer at the location and he no longer has the.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, the court will impose minimal fines and costs in both files. It's a $100 fine. There's $100 in costs. There's $75 mandatory crime victims fee. There's $50 mandatory state costs and $20 fund fee. The court is imposing the same sanction in both files, both the owner responsibility failing to provide adequate care and the violation of technical requirements will have the exact same penalties. The total due and owing to the court will be $690. Sir, do you need more than 5 days to pay those amounts?
Yes, I don't make a lot. That's everything.
Then, Mr. Davis, what I'll ask you to do before you leave the court this morning is stop downstairs, speak to the collection staff. They will set a payment plan in these matters that will fit your income. Is there anything else in these matters, Mr. Bowditch?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, that concludes these matters. Good luck to you, sir. Have a good day.
Your Honor, yeah, introduce this young man. This is Mr. Colin Harrison.
Harrison,
Just beginning law school.
where are you in school, sir?
The plan is either to go to Duke, Ohio State, or Wayne State.
Just graduated. It's quite a day.
I'm sorry, just graduated from
Eastern Michigan.
Eastern Michigan. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so for Newport, we're currently ranked 14th in the nation. I also did mock trial and model event. Newport is where I truly shine because we were arguing the law. We're arguing on a federal level. Get 7 cases cited by 200, 300 pages. I went through all that, conducted an argument on great privacy, and I did pretty well.
Well, good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So you're shadowing Mr. Badish today. What are you doing for the summer?
For the summer, I currently just got a job. I am a legal intern or legal assistant for a law firm that was just founded in January.
What's the law firm?
I think it's called Gronhill Counsel Law Firm.
What type of law?
Mainly business.
Okay.
Don't you make you proud?
Listen, I'm proud of all of the young people who are graduating this year from on any level. I'm proud of people being dedicated to their education. So
And Mr. Anderson has been with me for, he started almost a year. He has been here in and out. He normally sees Judge Oak because we're here in person. But every time I'm here in person, he shows up. He has responsibilities. When I leave the room and talk to the prosecutor, Mr. Anderson has the responsibilities of explaining in detail the individual's advice and rights.
oh,
And he does
wonderful.
a wonderful job.
Well,
But I
thank
give
you,
him that
sir.
responsibility because he needs to know. He
Exactly.
needs to repeat it, and he does it, and he does a fine job.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining courtroom number 1 this morning.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
Come on, call him back for today.
That's what the wrong time. He comes in every time that he's here. Freaked out.
Why do we still have all these files?
Ken's gonna love me.
So we should be almost done.
I think there's maybe 4 left.
Oh, wait, did you hear anything else about the officer from yesterday?
No, I'll check when I go back down the stairs. They said her leg was tore up.
That's why I was worried.
Did you see the video?
Mm-mm.
If she would not have held on to that rail as she was spinning down the stairs, it would have been her head that was bouncing off that concrete.
But if she was holding on, I wonder if she's injured her arm as well.
You know what? To me, that would have been the most likely place she would have hurt herself, with that arm trying to hold on. But she held on all the way to the bottom.
Nope, I didn't see the video. I didn't come downstairs yesterday. Unbelievable.
Mhm.
How do you explain that when you get back to the office?
I was waving to somebody and missed a step. That's what happened. She was waving to Mackenzie.
It could have been so much worse.
Oh, yeah. I said those last 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, were like working in bizarro world
I know,
with everything going on.
but I'm always scared to say that because then something else happens and you have to go, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. We wrote more reports in the last 2 days that we've written this year.
Well, hopefully that's the last of it.
Yeah, you're right.
You all could not look less happy to be here. Good grief. It's not my fault. I'm sorry, Mr. Bowditch, I stepped off for 3 minutes and I come back and there's Mr. Liddell.
Yes.
Would you come up to this middle podium for me, please? Sir, these are, I'm sorry, don't move. These are 24RP041 and B. These are City of Romulus versus Liddell. Would you state your name for me, please, sir?
Jawan Liddell.
Thank you. Sir, today was a day and time hearing set for the pre-hearing in these matters. The court has received from the prosecutor a signed agreement indicating that you will plead responsible to the B file, which is violation of the parking or vehicle storage code, and the A file, the on-camp premises, would be dismissed. Was that your understanding?
Yes.
What's wrong, Mr. Liddell?
It's begrudgingly, of course. I don't feel like I should be fined, period. But
For parking on the grass?
and they said like all of these vehicles, it wasn't that many vehicles, but it's okay.
It wasn't that many. How many is not that many?
It was 2 on there. But okay, it's done, I guess.
It's done if you want it to be done. Sir, the court will accept your plea of responsible to the violation of the parking ordinance will dismiss the unkempt premises. The signed agreement indicates a fine of $180. Do you need more than 5 days to pay that amount, sir?
No,
Are you paying it today? You don't have to, I'm just asking, so
sure, it's, yep.
then she'll process the file. It will be downstairs shortly. Anything else, Mr. Liddell?
No, man.
Have a good day. Thank you. Two four RP 01972 A and B, City of Romulus versus Means.
Ready, Your Honor. Your Honor, for the record, Jeff Bouch, appearing on behalf of Mr. Means, who's spoken. Sir, can you tell the judge your name and address?
Mike Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Means.
Your Honor, we're just requesting an adjournment.
That new date will be June 27th at 9:30. Anything else, Mr. Bowditch?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Means, are you still on Elbert? Notice of that June 27th, 9:30 a.m. date will be mailed to you at that address. Have a good day, sir. Thank you. Two four RP 02106 OM, City of Romulus versus Fuller.
Ready, Your Honor. Your Honor, for the record, Jeff Bouch, appearing on behalf of Mr. Fuller, Mr. Croce. Sir, could you tell the judge your name and address, please?
Malik Fuller.
Thank you, Mr. Fuller.
Your Honor, today's date and time set for pre-trial in this matter, set for rain also. We stand you, had a chance to pre-trial this. At this time, the prosecutor wishes to dismiss this misdemeanor, and Mr. Fuller will be pleading responsible to a double parking ticket with a suggested fee of $180.
Mr. Fuller, you heard the agreement that Mr. Bowditch just placed on the record,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's what you wish to do this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
The court will accept your plea of responsible to the added count of double parking, dismiss the misdemeanor, set the fine at $180. Sir, do you need more than 5 days to pay this amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Then what I'll ask you to do before you leave today is stop downstairs at the collections, at the cashiers. They'll set a payment plan in this matter. You have another citation outstanding from 2023 for impeding traffic. There's $276 due on that matter. They can put both of these into a single payment plan, okay?
Okay.
Have a good day, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you. Is it Ho? Hall, thank you. These are 23R008423 A and B. These are City of Romulus versus Terrence Hall. State your name for me, sir.
Terrence Hall.
Hall, thank you. Sir, today was the day and time scheduled for the formal hearing in this matter. The court has received a signed agreement between yourself and the prosecutor, Mr. Greco, indicating that both of these matters were being dismissed. Was that your understanding?
Yes.
Cases are hereby dismissed. Anything else this morning?
No, thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Miss Hester. This is 24RP021790N, City of Romulus versus Hester. Your name for the record.
Sherry Hester.
Ms. Hester, the court has received a signed agreement from the prosecutor indicating that this matter is being dismissed. Was that your understanding?
Yes,
The case is hereby dismissed.
thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Good to see you.
You too.
Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Thank you. Good morning. Wow. When did you get so tall? Good to see you. You know who that was? They all look just like. You know, when I saw her name, I immediately. I remember what he was like. Holy smokes. And I feel bad for saying it got out of my mouth before I meant. Oh, yeah, it's been 3 years. You got away from me. How many, are there a lot of people out there still? Are there a lot of people out there still? Nope, never mind. Nope, I'm coming. These are 24RP01867A and B, 24RP02111, A, B, and C. These are all City of Romulus versus Hill. These cases were scheduled for show cause at 8:30. It's now 8:30 a.m. It's now 11 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear for a second time, bench warrant shall issue 1,010%. These are 24RP01409. And 24RP01410OM. These are both City of Romulus versus Jamil. Cases were scheduled for show cause at 11:30 a.m. It's now, I'm sorry, at 8:30 a.m. It's now 11:02 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear for a second time in this matter, bench warrant shall issue 5,010%. Thank you. This is 24RP02082ON, City of Romulus versus Delaney. Good morning, sir. State your name for me, please.
Abbas Dulani.
Dulani. Thank you, Mr. Dulani. Today is the day and time scheduled for the pre-hearing in this matter. The court has received a signed agreement indicating that you will plead responsible to the unkempt premises and pay a fine of $100. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
The court accepts your plea of responsible, sir, and imposes the fine of $100. Do you need more than 5 days to pay that amount?
No, I'll pay it today.
Okay, give us 5 minutes. It'll be that, the file will be downstairs. You can stop at the cashiers before you leave. Anything else this morning?
Oh, thank you so much. I'll wait downstairs.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. You too. Thanks.
I walked out here, they all look so miserable. I mean, I understand this is not the club, but wow. 24RP 01485OM, 24RP 01515OM, and 24RP 01559OM. These are all City of Romulus versus Dwayne Jones, scheduled for show cause at 8:30 a.m. It's now 11:05 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear for a second time in these matters. Defendant owing the court in excess of $6,000 on similar tickets. Bench warrant shall issue. 5,000, 10%. Yeah, they did. It's on the plea form. Mhm. These are 24RP 01585 A and B. These are City of Romulus versus Suda Queen Habley. These cases were scheduled for show cause at 8:30 a.m. It's now 11:07 a.m. by the court's clocks. Defendant having failed to appear for a second time in this matter, bench warrant shall issue. 5,000, 10%. This is 24RP 00479OM, City of Romulus versus Daniel Queen. This case was scheduled for show cause at 8:30 a.m. It is now 11:08 a.m. by the court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear for a second time in this matter, bench warrant shall issue. 5,000, 10%. This is 23VB02835C. This is Van Buren Township versus Jeffrey Suck. Case was scheduled for pretrial at 8:30 a.m. It's now 11:09 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear. Matter will be set for show cause. These are 24RP 00927 A and B, City of Romulus versus Amanda Williams. These cases were scheduled for show cause at 8:30 a.m. It's now 11:10 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear for a second time in these matters, bench warrant shall issue 5,000, 10%. These are 24 RP 01556 A, B, and C, City of Romulus versus Roosevelt Williams. These cases were scheduled for show cause at 8:30 a.m. It's now 11:11 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear for a second time in these matters, bench warrant shall issue 5,000, 10%. Yes, sir. Yeah, you're fine. Thank you. Mary Ann?
Yes, ma'am. I'm coming
There's
out.
a case.
Yep, I'm coming.
Thank you. No worries. They just, Mr. Greco just dropped this off. These are 24R008506 A and B and 24RP 018470N. These are City of Romulus versus Delva. Would you come up to this podium in the middle for me, please, sir? State your name for the record.
Good morning.
Good morning. State your name.
Emery Delva.
Mr. Delva, today was the day and time scheduled for pre-hearing in these matters. The court has received a signed agreement between yourself and the prosecutor, Mr. Greco, indicating that you will be pleading responsible to the A and B files, which are violations of technical requirements, and the file that ends in 847, inoperable vehicle, would be dismissed. Was that your understanding?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. The court will accept your plea of responsible in the A and B files, assess the agreed upon fine of $180 for each file. There's an indication that you're aware that you need to submit plans for stairs within 30 days.
Yes, I'm working with the director, the building department. I'm working with that. He's already over that, and I'm aware of that. And we're in a common agreement that I'm going to get an engineer to submit a plan to replace the stair or fix them.
Okay. The court has accepted your pleas and imposed a fine of $180 per file. Sir, do you need more than 5 days to pay the $360?
Okay, I could pay them today.
I'm sorry,
I could pay them today.
you'll pay that today? Give her 5 minutes or so. The files will be downstairs. You will pay at the cashier station, okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Have a good
You
day.
blessed day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Marianne, here's the problem.
What?
1, 2, we still have 3 weeks
3 weeks.
until part 2 of season 3.
That is really, I don't know.
Two four RP 024560N, City of Romulus versus Awad. This case was scheduled for pre-hearing at 9 a.m. It's now 11:16 by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, the civil infraction will be deemed in default. These are 24 RP 01965 A and B, City of Romulus versus Anik Kolum. These cases were scheduled for pretrial at 9 a.m. It's now 11:17 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, these matters will be set for show cause. These are 24R008477 A and B, City of Romulus versus Gabriel Lopez. They were scheduled for pre-hearing at 9 a.m. It's now 11:18 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, these civil infractions will be deemed in default. These are 24R008372 A and B, City of Romulus versus Roger LeBlanc. These cases were scheduled for pre-hearing at 9:10 a.m. It's now 11:19 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, these civil infractions will be deemed in default. These are 24VB 01219 A and B. These are Van Buren Township versus Jeffrey Cove, KOVL. These cases were scheduled for pre-hearing at 9:20 a.m. It's now 11:20 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, the civil infractions will be deemed in default. These are 24RP 00441 A and B. These are City of Romulus versus Anton Harrington. These cases were scheduled for pretrial at 9:30 a.m. It's now 11:21 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, cases will be set for show cause. Good morning. You have a seat at at one of the tables, please. Thank you. These are 24R008476 A and B and 24R008491 A and B. These are City of Romulus versus Bridget Tucker. State your name for me, please.
Bridget Tucker.
Ms. Tucker, today was the day and time set for the formal hearing in this matter. The court has received a signed plea agreement from you and Mr. Greco, the prosecutor from the City of Romulus, that indicates that you will plead responsible to the A file, which is a violation of technical requirement, and that the other matters would be dismissed. Was that your understanding?
Yes. Next time I will have a lawyer, but not today, so I will pay the tickets.
One ticket, 491 A file, 491A, violation of technical requirement. Ma'am, the court accepts your plea of responsible to the file that ends in 491A, will impose a fine of $180. Do you need more than 5 days to pay that amount?
No.
$180. The other matters will be dismissed. Anything else this morning?
No, thank you.
Have a good day, ma'am. Thank you. I can hear you. What's going on this morning?
Just this stuff.
Aren't we almost done? Is there anyone else in the hall?
One more left.
Thank you. And the independent.
That's all I knew.
Good grief.
It doesn't say your age. so-
I don't think it's a secret anymore.
It didn't say 25.
Well, I was telling my husband the other day that because it's usually a holiday weekend, when I was a kid, my mother told me that they closed the banks and the schools for me. Yeah, I was convinced that that was true. 'I'm not too far behind. I should be done. Well, I'm getting Mackenzie's files together too, so. 24 RP 020830N, City of Romulus versus Harry Resnick. This case was scheduled for pre-hearing at 9:40 a.m. It's now 11:26 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, the civil infraction will be deemed in default. How are your folks? I saw your dad write up some morning last week, and he was getting off his bike just as I was coming up on the landing. I'm pounding on the window. He couldn't hear me.
Stuff off Amazon. Work on his tractor.
24 RP 02375 A and B 24 VB 0, excuse me. Cody, City of Romulus versus Cody Chenault. These cases were scheduled for pre-hearing at 9:40 a.m. It's now 11:27 a.m. by the court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, these civil infractions will be deemed in default. What's wrong with the tractor?
Just oil change.
Is it a big production for him though?
No.
I think that people who retire, people just, their sense of time is different. So they take more time. They're more deliberate about the things they do.
6.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Hope that God, he's still changing the oil. He's able to, he will.
I know. Keeps him busy and keeps him out of trouble, doesn't it? Mhm. 24 BB 010930M, Van Buren Township versus Total Resources Auctions. This case was scheduled for pretrial arraignment at 9:40 a.m. It's now 11:28 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, this matter will be set for show cause. We were talking about it earlier, how I want to be, well, we all want to be the 90-year-olds that are the rabble rousers and the, yeah.
I don't want to be. They say, oh, you had 2 years off. You know, the diaper years. That, I want to stay active and be able to do what I want to do.
I think it's mind over matter. 24 RP 00765 ABC and 24 R 008473 A, B, and C. These are all City of Romulus versus Max Bakari. These cases were scheduled for pre-hearing at 9:50 a.m. It's now 11:29 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, these cases being in warrant status, they will stay the same. I was telling the prosecutor, I was talking to an 80-year-old who said that his high days are C+ days. And because he asked me how I was, and I always say super. Any day I get up and get out of bed under my own steam, I consider a good day. He said his peak is a C+. And I told him I refuse to accept that. I expect all my days to be super days. And if they're not, I'm doing something wrong and I need to live them a little differently. The Beckery matters were scheduled for a hearing on Mr. Greco's motion for default judgment regarding compliance and cleanup. Mr. Beckery, having failed to appear this morning, the court will sign the order presented by Mr. Greco. That indicates that the property located at 6180 Cordell in the city of Romulus must be immediately, defendant must immediately cease the unlawful use and occupation of the property, including ceasing any tenancy. As the defendant does not have a certificate of occupancy, the property will be immediately cleaned up. As the sewage that has been discharged from the property has spread into neighboring properties. If the defendant fails to comply with this order by May 27, 2024, the city of Romulus, by and through its employees, agents, and contractors may enter onto the property to clean up, remove, and/or remediate the public health hazard and nuisance. The defendant will then be responsible for reimbursement to the city for all monies expended to effectuate this order. Are you doing anything for Memorial Day?
Yeah, we went out to the lake. Moved it today, I'm working late. Go home, cut the grass and head up there.
Nice.
What about you?
Nada. I like a nice quiet weekend.
Yeah.
There's a parade in Belleville on Monday that I'll go watch. Other than that, hope to do as little as possible.
Farm walking in it.
They're riding in it. They have some decorated golf cart. Well, that walk from the high school through downtown Belleville. It's not bad. I've ridden in the parade before. I just prefer to stand on the side and watch because you can get a better view of all the walkers and the floats and the everything else. I saw that they announced the grand marshals,
Who are the grand marshals?
Rick Dawson, and I saw it on the Independent. I can't remember who the other person was. But it's nice because the weather hopefully will be nice. People will be out. You get a chance to see people you haven't seen in a little while. Farmers market will be open. So hang around, drop off library books, visit,
Just groceries at the market.
They always have nice stuff. There's a nice local produce farm that sets up like 2 big pop-ups, and they'll have their not little baskets, because they have a pretty nice display. Carrots, tomatoes, lettuce. They're always right on the corner. You can't miss them. I can't think of the name of the farm, but you can't miss them. 24RP020990N, City of Romulus versus Nazir Jawitz. This case was scheduled at 9:50 a.m. for pre-hearing. It's now 11:33 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, the civil infraction will be deemed in default. Was Mr. Greco still with someone? Oh. I wonder who it is. Not really. It's fine. He'll be here when he gets here. I just hope it's not.
We probably have to file. No?
It's probably the formal hearing, so I'll wait for the last formal hearing.
Who's the lady?
Moore? Johnson. That's the last case, so I'll wait on that one. 24RP021780N, City of Romulus versus Kiana Lane. The case was scheduled for pre-hearing at 10 a.m. It's now 11:34 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, the civil infraction will be deemed in default. 24RP 02105 A, B, and C, City of Romulus versus Jenny Moore. These cases were scheduled for pre-hearing at 10 a.m. It's now 11:35 a.m. by this court's clock. Defendant having failed to appear, these civil infractions will be deemed in default. Good morning, Ms. Johnson. This is 24RP 01442ON, City of Romulus versus Angela Johnson. Would you come up to the podium, please, and state your name for me?
Angela Johnson.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. The court has received from the prosecutor a signed agreement indicating that this case will be dismissed and you will go to the building department to address the issue with the driveway. Was that your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court will hereby dismiss this case. Anything further? That concludes this matter. You have a good afternoon.
You too.
Thank you. That concludes the court's docket for the day. We stand adjourned.